We all sit on the table, very like. So my dad was 42 when he passed.
Wow, it's so young.
My mom was 36 and never had work. So basically, to make a little story short, his business just went bad. We lost everything. So we basically went from mid class to like. Then we really like. We didn't have a car. We both went. My sister and I. We were in private schools. We went to public, but remember, public schools there are not like public schools here. If you go to public school, it's because you can't afford it, and the it's not good.
The safety level falls off.
Safety level, but even the education, it's not as high. It's not as good because it's just like a product of the government that we have. But so then I had to go work. So my dad made him promise him that one day, the day before he passed, he called me up in the hospital. And we're sitting. He was actually very lucid. It wasn't like, and going to a hospital with him, I did it for 3 years in a row. So it wasn't a problem. He's like, hey, let's go sit down and have a chat. So he actually, it was on a Thursday. He called my mom. I was at the racetrack. We usually, like, race weekends are Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Even for go-karting it was?
Even for go-karting. Okay. So it was Thursday afternoon. I was at the track getting ready for Friday. And he asked my mom to tell me to stop by the hospital because he wanted to speak to me. So we sat down, and I sat in his bed. He's talking. He's obviously sick, cancer, no hair, but not like, oh, he's dying or something. And he's like, hey, man, if anything ever happens to me, you need to promise me you need to take care of your mom and sister, but also you're never going to give up racing because you're really good at it. And I'm like, but he like, over the course of the 3 years, we had a lot of talks like that. I think he was trying to prepare me. I have a younger sister, so I was the oldest. I'm like, yeah, Dad. And he says, and one day you need to win the Indy 500 for me, because we used to watch that race. And to me as a kid, I mean, it has nothing to do with the win. I remember that the winner will take a picture with $1 million cash around the car. That for me was like, that's what I want.
Wow.
Like as a kid, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, dude, I want to have a freaking $1 million here. So he says, and I said, yeah, man, sure. But what are you talking about? Whatever. So I go home that night. I fall asleep. I wake up Friday morning to go to the track. My mom's at home. I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, well, your dad passed last night, in the middle of the night. So I just came here to tell you. But before he passed, he asked me to remind you what you guys talked.
Really?
Yeah. So I was like, then she says, do you know what it is? She wasn't there. I said, yeah, of course. She goes, okay. I said, well, I'm going to go to the racetrack. She goes, what? I said, well, that's what we talked. So I did not go to his services. I didn't want to have the picture of my dad laying there. I think as a kid, he was going to daunt me for a long time. So
was that a personal choice, or was that part of your mother's choice? Because that seems like a strong choice.
No, mom was actually, because I said, I think the first thing was a promise that I made him, because I had a race that weekend. So I said, I promise I'm going to keep racing. I can't miss a race.
Right.
So I went. But in the process, I think I don't recall exactly because it was such a long time ago, but I think that probably led to maybe, the goodbye was the night before. He's not going to talk to me.
Right.
I know people like to pay respects, but that's my choice.
And your mother was okay with you making that choice?
Yeah, because I told her the promise I made him that I was going to go race. And I won that race that weekend.
Wow.
So that trophy from that day, April 8th, 1998, my mother still has it in her nightstand in her home.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So, and then from then on, basically it starts the poor kid.
Living the promise, huh?
Right. And
Living
then I
out
had
the
to do
promise.
whatever I had to do.
Man, that's it's interesting, man. Yeah, my father passed of cancer when I was 16, and he was 70 when I was born, so he was older. So even today, when I got to go over by you guys' track and ride around with Mr. Andretti, who I think was 82. Yeah, it's like that reminded me of being a kid riding around with my dad. I mean, my dad went a little slower, but that was, that was the...
If Mario hears you, he'll kill you.
When I was Yeah, when I was 12 years old, my dad was 82, and we go drive. And then when I was 13, he let me drive. When I was tall enough, he let me drive, and he would just sleep and stuff while I was driving, which was insane because I didn't know. I had no idea what I was doing. So, yeah, I've never done anything like NASCAR, but that was the closest I'd ever came, was just driving a senior citizen around. But that was a little bit of a similar experience that I had out there today. So the prominence of racing is that big in Brazil?
It's big. Obviously, it could be bigger, but it's so expensive that it's not. But like a kid that is born in Brazil and obviously follows sports, either they want to be a soccer player or a race car driver.
And it's easier there for wealthier kids to get into. It's like
in racing, if you have 20 kids, one will be that has no money. Everybody else has a parent or somebody that is paying a hell lot of money for them to start.
Wow.
And it only becomes more expensive, right? So when I looked, because when I look what my mother did for me after my dad passed, because like I said, we're mid-class. I mean, dad was responsible. So we had some savings. And my mother, to keep my dream and my promise to my dad alive, kept funding. That's why we ran out of money.
Wow.
And I told her that I have 4 kids now. And with all due respect to my kids, if they want to follow a career, I wouldn't jeopardize, because I had a sister that had to actually sacrifice for me as well.
Wow.
Right? I don't think I could do it to one of my kids, because what about the other 3? Okay, I have a little bit too many kids, I think, for that. But it was me and my sister, and I got all of it.
Yeah.
Spent all of it. And she's like,
what about me?
What about me?
Was there favoritism? Is there, like, because you were the male as well? Was that
not
part
at
of just
all,
y'all's
man?
culture?
And you know, that's something that I joke about it. I said, the day that I find that finally I'm not around and I meet my dad again, he's going to hear, because it was a big responsibility that he put it on me, because until this day, my sister never said a word.
Wow.
I mean, they all knew the story. So I think it was more of dad's word putting the responsibility on me and on them to sacrifice for me for a dream that we had, him and I. They had nothing to do with it.
Wow. So that must have felt like an added pressure, huh?
But Theo, yeah, because then you think about it, after a year and a half, we lose everything. Then I actually quit school. I stopped. I was in 9th grade because I had to go to work.
That's pretty high.
So I had to stop. She obviously graduated. She's extremely successful now, but it becomes that I started working on the go-kart factory to be able to have money